Hi, I'm Jenny from the Missouri Star Quilt Company, and I've got a real fun project for you today. Take a look at this quilt behind me. Isn't this gorgeous? I mean, this is so much fun. I love the fabric. To make this quilt, what you're going to need is a packet of 10-inch pre-cut squares, and we've used Sunprint by Allison Glass for Andover, and they're just, I mean, these are them behind us. They're just beautiful, all different kinds of colors. You're also going to need your periwinkle template, because that's what this quilt is. It's a bordered periwinkle. You're going to need a packet of periwinkle foundation papers, and you're going to need a glue stick. And you're also going to need, for your little strips in between, you are going to need about 1.5 yards of background fabric to make your little tiny borders in here. So let me show you how to do this. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go through and you're going to pick out some fabrics, and we're going to cut them. Now I'm going to stack mine in about 4 in a stack. This just makes the cutting easier. You don't have to do this, but it just makes the cutting easier. So I want some different colors in my stack, so I'm going to go with that one and one more. How about one of these? Let's see. So many things to choose from. Oh, I like this one right here. So this one right here. All right. So first things first, we're going to take this layer cake and we're going to cut it diagonally, corner to corner. Just like that. Then we're going to take our pieces, our big triangles, and we're going to lay our periwinkle right up in the corner like this, and we're going to cut it out like this. And I'm just going to whip this around like that. Make sure I'm still lined up, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut that right there. So keep these little side pieces, because those are going to be your side pieces after you border your center. I'm going to go ahead and do this with this other side as well. So again, lay your template. You want your top corners right here to match. This is what we're matching up here. Better move that guy or I'll slice him right in half. We don't want to do that. I'm just going to trim that line up. Flip this around. Line myself back up. And make the cut. Cut off that little end down there. All right, so now we get to start putting these together, and this is really a fun part. I like to keep my sides stacked up like that, ready to go. You're going to take your paper, open your packet of papers, and we're going to put, I also used a lapel glue stick, and I'm just going to run a couple of pieces of glue on there, a couple of swipes. And I'm going to put my periwinkle right here, line up the top corner with the paper just like this. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to border that periwinkle, hence bordered periwinkle. And when I do this, what I actually do is I'll glue all my center pieces, and then I'll start bordering them, and I'll border all one side. You know, sew down one side, put the next one in, sew it down, do a chain piecing. But I'll show you how to do this with one. And you're going to need about 28 strips for this. So let's go ahead and sew 1/4 inch right here. We're going to sew right through the paper. Head over to the sewing machine. All right, so you're going to sew one side on all your pieces. And then I'm just going to, once you get all your sides, I'm just showing one to show you. I'm going to go ahead and trim that off, and then we're going to press that back. Once it's pressed back like this, you can add your other strip to the other side. So again, we put right sides together and take it over to the sewing machine and sew that down. This is such a fun, quick block, and I love that with the papers you can. It just helps you be so much more. It just makes it perfect, you know. It doesn't scoot around. You've got that nice foundation piece on there. Again, I'm going to trim that off and iron that back. All right. Now what I did was I went through my stacks and I found pieces that were different. So like I might choose to use this piece on here and this piece over here. And actually, if you use the sides, you know, the same sides they came off of, it will line up a little better, I think. So you want to lay them on there to make sure they fit, and then you're going to turn them back like this, and sew 1/4 inch right along that side. So let's go to the sewing machine and sew those down. So I've got this one side, line it right up along with the edge of my strip, and sew 1/4 inch. And then I'm gonna turn this right around and sew the other side on. You want to make sure to keep your pieces in 2 separate piles, because if you start to put it on, you want to lay it out, make sure it's going to cover all the paper. If it doesn't cover, you might have picked it up from the wrong pile. So keep your piles separate, and that will help you a lot for putting them on, because that angle is a little different from one side to the next. So then we're going to iron this out, and it covers that whole corner just perfectly, and this one too. And then what we have to do, because we have this piece kind of with all these pieces that are sticking out, we're going to flip it over and we're going to trim the whole thing. So I can't trim with my scissors. Well, I could. That would be old school. I'm going to use the rotary cutter though. All right, here we're going to trim that off. And you just make the paper is now your line. That gives you the straight edge to cut on. So use it, lay your ruler right along the edge of that paper, and we're going to trim it up. All right, so once you get all these edges cut, so this is what you're looking for, a nice trimmed up triangle. So now you can peel your paper, which because you know, we've sewn it, we have all these nice little perforated seams now. Our paper's all perforated, comes off very easily. If I'm doing a whole bunch of these, I will leave them in a stack and let my grandkids peel them. They love to do that. So then what you're going to do is you need 4 of these, and they are going to go together in a block like this. And I have 2 sewn together here, so this is the block we're looking for right here. Just like that. And what we need to do is we need to sew this together. So I actually like things with more seams in them because it gives you places to line up all the way along so you don't get off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay these two triangular pieces like this, right sides together. And I'm going to match up where my little 1.5 inch border strip comes together, and match up my points, and I'm going to sew down one side of this, and then I'm going to attach this other side to it, because that is the block right there. So quick and easy. All right, take a few anchoring stitches, make sure you're still lined up. And then so right off the end, we're going to press this open. Here we go. And then we're going to add the other side to it right here. So we're going to lay those right sides together. You want to make sure that center seam is going in 2 opposite directions so you can nest that right up. I like to just scoot it with my fingers and feel how it goes together. And so I do that. You can put a pin in over here to make sure these are lined up if you want. And then we're going to line up our points, and we're just going to stitch straight across, and that's going to make the block. So here we are. And right across our little border to our little center seam. There we go. And then right down the other side. I always stop and take a peek and make sure that I'm still lined up. It's so fun to me how you just add one little thing. We just added that one little strip to the periwinkle, and all of a sudden we have a whole new look. So I'm pressing this out now. You can flip it over and make sure your seams are going the way you want them to. I like to press from the top first. And this is your block right here. Now if you arrange this in different directions, you're going to get different blocks. So have a little fun with this. But this is where what we're looking at right here. See our block? And then you're going to just piece them together. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks here by 5 rows down, and it makes all these cool interlocking patterns once you get all those little borders in there. So it really is fun. We added an 1.5 inch strip to our first border because all of our little pieces were 1.5 inches, and then a 4-inch border to the outside. You're going to need about 1.25 yards for that, and it makes this beautiful, darling bordered periwinkle. So we hope you enjoyed this tutorial on the bordered periwinkle from the Missouri Star Quilt Company.